Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm on the Fusion build server. I'll have a link in the description to the battle metrics page along with the client.connect. I'm friends with the admin on here, and this server is pretty cool. I've never seen a build server like this yet. It's got all the monuments up here and the Bandit Camp and outpost are on the bottom. There's some water spots and rivers around. So maybe come check it out if you're looking for a cool build server to test your builds and stuff on. But today I'm going to be going over 2 new ways to generate scrap with horses and fishes. The first one I saw in a video the other day from another YouTuber called Sven. I'll leave a link to his video in the description below. But basically you want to build a little base. If you're a solo player, you might want to just build a 2x2. You're not really gonna find too many horses unless you're on a huge server. There's a limited amount of horses per server, but you ride them into the base, set them up to a hitch. You can have 2 horses per hitch, and they will generate 2 to 3 dung per hour. You put the dung in a composter and it will turn into fertilizer over time, and then 2 fertilizer can be sold at the Bandit Camp for 3 scrap. Make sure your horses have enough food, and then they will just poop 2 to 3 dung every hour. The other option, which in my opinion is absurd right now that this is even a thing, is that trout sell for 5 scrap per trout at the Bandit Camp. Let me just turn this down real quick. It's very loud in here. So fish traps generate around 1 trout every 3 minutes. So that's about 20 trout every hour per trap. That means the more traps you have, the more scrap you get per hour. If you have 20 traps, you'll get around 2,000 scrap per hour, which is just absurd. But for all of those solo players out there or small groups, I would recommend building a small little base like this. If you don't have any high external walls and you just need to get that early scrap to start learning stuff like the walls that you would need to build a bigger area, then the easiest way and most efficient way is to scan an area with 1 fish trap. This is best done on the coast near the oceans, on the beach. And you'll want to scan a pretty large area because you want as many fish traps as possible. Then you'll place a square foundation as close to the center of the placeable area as possible. Build it out as far as you want. Make sure you check every once in a while with the fish trap to make sure that the square foundation that you're placing is placeable for the fish trap, and then build triangles all the way around it. And then you can destroy the squares in the center. And then you can build your walls all the way around, throw your TC down, any deployables you have, and doors that you might want to place. It is very important that you place down all deployables and doors before you put the fish traps down. Otherwise, you might be blocked from placing them because since we are putting them in such a confined and restricted area, they need to be squished into the foundations, which I'll show you if you're unfamiliar with in a few seconds. And since we have all this extra space, why not throw our composters in here? Even though we're not going to be putting the fish in them, we have all this extra space to put stuff in here. But if you're making this out of wood like I am, you might not want to put anything too important in here. After you're happy with everything, you got everything placed in here, then you can start putting your fish traps down, and make sure that you start from the opposite side if you're doing the same thing I am from the composters, because they are taking up a little bit of space in the foundation. You're going to want to have some room for them to be able to fit in there. And there you have it. You've got your very own little fish base. You can build multiple of these. Like I said earlier, the easiest way and most effective way is just to wall off a large portion, a large body of water, and place as many fish traps as you can. The more fish traps you have, the more trout you get, and then the more scrap you can make by selling it at the Bandit Camp. I would recommend flying over there in a mini copter personally instead of running all the way over there in case you're a newer player. So if we take a look at Rust Labs, you can see that you can buy the composter for 30 scrap from the Bandit Camp. Either that or you can craft it for 2 tarp and 200 wood. The more of these you have, the faster you can make fertilizer with all the excess food that you might have if you have a farm or if you have built up a stable with a lot of horses, the horse dung is pretty much the only thing that you want to use the composter for. But if you are in a large clan and you have a lot of human flesh, you can turn that into fertilizer as well, which is 2 fertilizer for 3 scrap at the Bandit Camp, which adds up over time, especially if you have like 5 or 10 composters running with a lot of excess food. Rotten food is the best to put in here because you're not using it for really anything. And human flesh, along with the dung, you can also do things like pickles and the minnows that you get from the fish farm if you have one of those. Another thing to keep in mind, if you have a farm for food, there's a new item, the plant fibers, which you can throw in there as well. I mean, why not? Just throw as much stuff in there as you can. Although I don't think the composter is the best option in comparison to the fish farm. You know, the fertilizer sells 2 for 3, but the fish sells 1 for 5. So you really don't want to be throwing that in the composter at all. You want to be saving this if you have a fish farm and selling it at the Bandit Camp. But I don't think that this is going to stay the same for very long. And do keep in mind with the fish farms, if you need low grade, you can use the trout for low grade as well. But early on in the wipe, you are going to probably want the scrap over the low grade to research things. So if we do some quick math, you can see that the horse will give out 2 to 3 dung per hour if it's by a hitch. So that'll be 5 fertilizer once it's composted, which will be about 10 fertilizer per horse. So you get 3 scrap. So it's about 30 scrap per horse per hour. And if you have 10 horses, that'll be about 300 scrap per hour. As for the fish farm, you get about 1 trout every 3 minutes. So if we divide that by 60, that'll be our per hour per trap, which will be 20 trout per trap per hour. If you have 20 traps, you'll get around 400 trout per hour, which sells for 5 scrap per trout, meaning you'll get 2,000 scrap per hour for 20 traps. And that's about everything that I can think to cover. Really trying to stretch this video out to 10 minutes so that I can get some ad revenue, man. I know I slowed down a couple months ago on the video uploads. There's some personal reasons for that I really would not like to share, but I would just like to let you know, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. This was my only source of income for almost over a year. And I'm going to try to get back to the 1 video a day if I can. It's probably going to end up being a couple a week, maybe 1 a week, 2 a week. But I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. But on another note, go check out the Fusion build server. I know the admin, he's a pretty cool dude. I'll leave a link to the website, to his Rust servers and all that if you want to donate to him and help him out. He's trying to run some other servers. He's got like a PvP server, the build server, and I'm sure he's looking to expand. So go show him some support. I'll leave links to all of his stuff in the description below. But that's all I got for you guys today. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe, and leave a comment down below of something you would like to see me do in the future. I'm thinking about starting streaming again, but I'm been having some issues with a new graphics card and learning OBS since I can't use Shadow Play anymore. I have an AMD graphics card now instead of NVIDIA, so I'm trying to work all the kinks out with that. But if I do start streaming, would you rather me stream on YouTube or on Twitch? Because I'm not really sure. You know, when I stream on Twitch, I don't really get as many viewers as I do when I stream on YouTube. But I know a lot of you guys already have your Twitch account set up and you got like Amazon Prime and all of that. So let me know in the comments if you would rather me stream on YouTube or if you would rather me stream on Twitch. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.